Hi, I'm Professor Steve Rowe. I'm a real paleontologist, and you're watching Real Paleontology. And today, I just want to give you an update on the latest news regarding the marsupial lion, Thylacleo carnifex. This awesome beast is my favorite super predator, and if you've frequented my little channel, you'll know that it was the subject of my very first episode here. If you want a more comprehensive overview, I refer you to this. Anyway, the big news is that for the very first time, a complete marsupial lion skeleton is now on display. You can find it in the Naracoorte Caves of South Australia. For anyone interested in this extraordinary beast, it's way worth a visit. The display itself is actually cast from material found in the vast Nullarbor of Western Australia. So I'm going to do a quick recap and then an overview of what a complete skeleton tells us that we didn't know before. Okay, so the marsupial lion was the largest mammalian predator that Australia has ever seen. It lived from around 2 million to 40,000 years ago, and bizarrely, its closest living relatives are koalas and wombats. It was a tremendously muscular animal, built to rumble. It was widespread in Australia. Large individuals weighed in at up to 130 kilos or so, but specimens from Western Australia appear to be considerably smaller. Pound for pound, it had the most powerful bite of any large mammalian carnivore ever. Now, before we discuss this new display, I should note the rarely observed fact that a near complete skeleton of Thylacleo was found in northern New South Wales almost 60 years ago. This was clearly a female because she was found with a little baby Joey. Afraid I don't have a pic of this little Joey, but I can assure you it exists because I've seen it. This is significant because we rarely find a mother and child fossilized together for any species, and obviously it means that we could confidently determine her sex. Got to admit though, she wasn't particularly photogenic because much of her skeleton was crusted in calcite. Anyway, she was certainly in good enough condition to come up with some informed predictions on her lifestyle. And in 1971, Eileen Finch published this short description, which was followed up in later years with more comprehensive work. This clearly demonstrated that Thylacleo was a formidable predator. The bottom line is that until her discovery, we were really in the dark when it came to understanding how the postcranial skeleton of the marsupial lion fitted together. There were a bunch of mostly random isolated postcranial bones from different individuals, but no way to be sure of which bones belonged to which. And there were still some skeptics that remained unconvinced of the marsupial lion's predatory credentials. Once we had her, we had 90% or more of the skeleton, and any remaining cockamamie notions that she and her kind weren't effective killers were pretty much put to rest. Any that did remain were well and truly ended by an analysis of South Australian Thylacleo skull material by Rod Wells here in 1982. Anyway, bottom line is, I don't think that this first near complete skeleton of a marsupial lion ever received the attention that she deserved. To the best of my knowledge, she's never even been given a name, and I think she deserves one. So I'm going to call her Ngamba, which means mother in the language of the local Kamilaroi people. Way back when in 2008, I was privileged enough to work with her, and together with colleagues, I published an analysis based on her skeleton here. We found that she shared a lot of postcranial features with hard-hitting super predators from other continents, in particular Smilodon, the notorious saber cat. These included a short lower back and particularly powerful forelimbs. In short, she was built for strength and stability, just the kind of kit you need if you want to rumble with big prey. However, what Ngamba was missing was part of her tail and back feet. Of course, these have an important story to tell, and this is just what we've gotten from Rod Wells and colleagues who've described some of this new, beautifully preserved Nullarbor material here. What have we learnt from this? Well, we now know that the marsupial lion had a pretty long and very muscular tail, much more muscular than that of any cats. So what, you might say? Well, Wells and colleagues reckon that this mighty tail could have been effectively used as a third back leg, greatly enhancing the marsupial lion's stability when it got up close and personal with big prey. And stability is bloody important when you're trying to bring down a big animal with a strong will to live. Just ask any wrestler. The back feet were informative too. Wells and Co. showed that Thylacoleo was habitually flat-footed. Analyses of the feet also showed that the big toe was semi-opposable. Another feature that they described not preserved in Ngamba were her collarbones. Altogether, these features pretty much confirm previous suggestions that the marsupial lion would have been a competent climber. Now, much has been made of the marsupial lion's irrepressible compunction to climb trees and then launch itself onto unsuspecting prey below. The killer drop bear hypothesis. On YouTube alone, I've seen at least half a dozen videos pushing this theory. Certainly makes for a sensational story, but I'm very skeptical on this one. It's true that at least one large living predator is known to do this, the leopard. However, this is certainly not the leopard's typical modus operandi, although it clearly does happen, as demonstrated here. Still, the vast majority of leopard kills are made using the very terrestrial stalk and ambush approach common to all cats. Leopards are adept climbers, obviously, but they mostly climb in order to avoid other predators or to drag their prey to a point that's out of reach from them. I think that this is the most likely purpose to which the marsupial lion put any of its climbing prowess. I also doubt that it regularly hunted prey in the trees. I reckon there really wasn't much up there big enough to make it worth a big predator's time and effort, and most smaller, truly arboreal tree dwellers would easily have been able to escape to smaller branches that couldn't have held Thylacoleo's weight. There were a couple of very large tree kangaroos around in Ice Age Australia, but these are rare finds, and they probably spent more time on the ground than tree kangaroos today. I just don't think that the power and heavy-duty weaponry of the marsupial lion evolved so that it could habitually snack on small prey. This would be like hunting bunny rabbits with an AK-47. On the other hand, there was at least one other predator big enough to push a marsupial lion off its kill or encourage it to carry its prey into the trees. Megalania, the giant monitor lizard, and the subject of another previous episode that you might like to check out. Anyway, it's getting hot. I think I'll go for a swim. So I'll end this little episode here. Please like and subscribe if you found this helpful. And if you get a chance, go check out the cool skeleton in the Naracoorte Caves.